Welcome to Focus on Suppliers, brought to you by 8th and Walton. Today we're talking about holiday and specifically your holiday safety. It's always great to visit with Mr. Eric White of Tyco Retail Solutions at Johnson Controls. Eric, thank you for being back on the show.
Great to be here.
This time of year, we talk about retailers who are very excited about holiday sales, but you work with them closely on some of the concerns they have about increased traffic. So what are some of the safety issues they've come to expect this time of year?
Retailers, for the most part, have matured to the point where they have a checklist in preparing for the holidays, and they look for their systems to make sure they're operational. Their camera systems, their alarm systems, merchandise protection systems. And the advice there really is start early. Too often you'll see retailers begin after Halloween trying to get their systems up and operational and their people trained. And as we all know, the holiday season comes fast and furious and there's just not time. The other thing retailers are preparing for is this additional flow of product into their stores. And oftentimes that's high value product. And if you think about the hottest electronics item for the holiday season, they need to know, did they get what they paid for when it comes off the truck? They need to know where they're going to store it until it goes to the sales floor and who's going to have access to it. Technology can help in those spaces. Technology like RFID that tracks the item specifically can help you be assured that you got what you paid for coming off the truck and then know where it is inside of the store. Video, CCTV, has also evolved to the point where an analytic, which is just software that layers over top of the video, really allows you to know what's supposed to be in the frame and what's changed in the frame. And so retailers, that flow of product that comes in and making sure it gets to the sales floor and ultimately to the customer's hand in the holiday season, those are the things that they're thinking about. They're also thinking about their own safety and security of their people and their customers. So you have a number of shoppers, and probably a higher number of shoppers than normal, into your stores. And those customers are wanting to buy product, and so for those folks, you really got to think about, are you being safe yourself? I always talk about this high level of awareness. Just be aware of your surroundings. That's probably the best advice you can give someone during the holiday season. Don't take anything for granted. Have a high level of awareness. But we've also transitioned our selling over to the digital field. So really, you have a number of vulnerabilities in and around the digital buying that takes place. And so you think about just going onto a website and buying your product, shows up on your door. You think, well, somebody could steal it off my doorstep. That can happen. But really, that transaction could be compromised. And so look for the little lock up in the URL. That means your data is encrypted and you're probably on a legitimate site. Don't use a hotspot or public Wi-Fi for shopping. Those are kind of tips that are important for everyone in the holiday season.
Now, going back to the brick and mortar shopper, we were talking about the heightened traffic that's going to be in stores the holiday season. A lot of retailers will look to third parties to kind of bring in more security to kind of keep things safe during Black Friday and just the whole season. What advice do you give them when they're seeking out a third-party security company?
Much of the Black Friday rush has been diffused over the season. And then with digital shopping, the omni-channel, people have other ways. So you don't see the level of anxiety around crowds that you used to across the retail spectrum. However, some retailers still have that. They hold that hot item for that one-day sale, and they'll get a whole bunch of shoppers there. And a retailer really needs to partner with a company that understands how to do crowd management. It's a different animal than what you normally have during the shopping time. You have to understand how to queue people up. You have to understand how to lower their anxiety through things like Line Buster or rain check tickets, and just make people feel like I'm going to get that product I got here and I'm going to be rewarded for that. And then the companies that are doing that successfully are more than just guard companies. They're really, you could call them smart guard companies. And they're not smart because their IQ is high. They may be, but they're smart because they're enabled with data and with information, actionable intelligence to them. So their geography that they sit in, if there's an event that's occurring in close proximity, there's a demonstration, there's something happening, a bank robbery that's close, informing the guard that's on site allows them to take preparation and action ahead of time before the event moves its way into that arena.
You were talking about the technology element a little bit before, and I want to go back to that for a second. What can we see this season, and what's kind of in the pipeline for 2019 as far as technology to deter theft and also keep our people safe?
Yeah, so theft, crime, is really deviant behavior. It's actions that are outside of the social norms. And the number one way to keep people from making that bad decision is to ensure that in their mind that they'll be caught. So the certainty of being caught is what most often deters criminal behavior. And that can be done through a number of intervention strategies. You've seen in retail public view monitors, you've seen in retail tracking of product that moves, you've seen ways that customers are interacted with on a helpful manner to help them find product, but it also sends a message to a bad guy that I know you've got that product in your hand. Now, layer on top of that this certainty of being apprehended and this idea that if you take this action, if you complete this negative transaction, you're going to leave the store without paying for the product, you'll be caught. That apprehension may happen today or it may happen in the future because technology allows me to know who you are. Some of the exciting technology is really video based. It links virtually people with products. So product leaves the shelf, it's linked to that individual, I know it's with you, I track that product through other means, whether that's RFID or beacon or near field technology, and as it leaves the store without being paid for, that's a pretty tight link to you and that product, and over time, the bad guys will learn. So I think it's for retailers, entering that emerging technology is important. Test and learn what works for you in your area, and then don't take for granted the easy things. During the holiday season, you'll might have trailers out back because you have too much product. And if you don't do something to secure that, you're just feeding the animals. I mean, they'll just come to they'll just like the neighborhood cats. They'll just show up and raid your stuff. So I think you have to do the basics right as well as layer on that new technology layer that helps to send the message, if you commit this bad crime, you're going to be caught.
Always great to talk with you, Eric. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for watching. Ready to take your next step in your journey with Walmart? Contact us at help@8thandwalton.com.